Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Trade Station Masterclass. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education here for Trade Station. And what we do is we try to make the Trade Station technology as easy as possible. Today's topic is about Windows workspaces and desktops, which seems very basic, and it is. It is a basic topic, and we're going to take it and dive deeper into the functionality and some of the quirks that are part of the are part of the usability of Windows and workspaces and desktops. And some of you that have been here for a long time know that you need to understand the way that Windows and workspaces and desktops interact with each other. So before we jump into the topic of today's presentation, let's go through some of the disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about in this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. Please visit the link right there in the PowerPoint slide, www.tradestation.com/important information for more details on these disclosures. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to my TradeStation platform and talk about the differences between Windows workspaces and desktops. TradeStation has been gradually been enhanced, and there's a lot of functionality that has been implemented on top of already existing functionality. And since TradeStation, goes back to maybe 40, 45 years ago, some of the technology that was used in the past um, may not work very well with newer technology. Let's put it that way. But it is important that we all understand where TradeStation comes from when they try to offer you certain feature or certain functionality, so that you can use it to your advantage, so you can use the maximum potential of that functionality. And for that is specifically what I wanted to say in regards to Windows workspaces and desktops. When somebody gets started with TradeStation, sometimes it's hard to understand what is the relationship between a window, a workspace, and a desktop. How do I organize them in a way that works for me? Um, you probably all know that TradeStation offers some sample workspaces. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to take a look at them. For somebody that's getting started, so I see some use in opening up a workspace that's already built, so you can see all the applications that you can open and how you can lay it out. For someone that's already been using TradeStation for some time, you're better off, starting from scratch. But if you haven't, taken a look at those sample workspaces, go and take a look. Maybe there's something that you want to pick up from one of those workspaces. That's one of the reasons why you always see me open up a blank TradeStation desktop, because I usually like to, open up my TradeStation the way that a user would look at it. There's nothing on it. What do I do? How do I approach this? And I was saying that a lot of you may have been using TradeStation for a while, and you know what you like and what you don't like. And sometimes having the benefit of opening up TradeStation blank is great, because now you can just open up exactly what you need in the form that you need it. So let's clarify some of the terminology that TradeStation is using and how it has evolved and changed. Because back in the days, a window, the term window, was used more than it is now. Now, we refer to those windows as apps. So when you look at the apps menu right here at the top of TradeStation, every button that you see in here is going to launch into its own application window. That's where the window terms comes on. So if you open up, for example, a chart analysis, the chart analysis application shows up as a window. And this floating window, we use the same concept as in the Windows operating system. So this is a floating window that you can grab by the title bar. This window also has, some minimize, maximize, and close buttons right there on the top right corner. You can also grab it by one of the corners and resize it to any shape and form. You can grab it by the sides as well. If you want to control um, the width of the application window, you can control it by grabbing one of the edges on the side. You can also do the edges on the top or bottom to do the height of the actual windows. There's a lot of Windows functionality that was implemented back in the days with these applications and still remains very useful, because you can build your TradeStation desktop the way that you want by organizing and resizing all these applications. When I come over here and I open up another chart window, where is it? There we go. Chart window. Then I have multiple application windows open inside of a workspace. You're going to see that at the very bottom of my TradeStation, we have an untitled workspace, which is an empty, well, it's not empty anymore, but it's a container. If you don't have any windows open, it'll be an empty container. Now we have two charts that are visible right here in this workspace that are part of that tab. A tab, just think of it as a folder where you're archiving certain application windows. Of course, the applications are going to be accessible up here, but anything that you open up inside of this view is going to be contained in this workspace right there at the bottom, which at the moment is untitled because I haven't saved it. Once you save a workspace, that workspace is going to be saved into your computer's hard drive, and you are going to recover that workspace from the hard drive when you open up TradeStation again. With the new update of TradeStation, they enhanced the right-click menu. I know that, I'm not really sure what things are new here, but if you guys are using an older version of TradeStation, do what I'm doing right now, which is the right-click on the Workspace tab, and that'll tell us what's new. I just, saw a little note on update, 63 that said we are adding a few more things to the right-click menu, but I don't have the details. So can somebody tell me if you have an older version of TradeStation? You can check always right here on the help and about TradeStation. You can see that I have update 63 applied on my TradeStation. I don't think it's been sent to everyone. So some of you may still be on update 62. So compare your right-click menu with mine and see what's new. If my memory works well, I think Open Workspace was not part of this right-click menu. So maybe Open Workspace, New Workspace were not part of this. Maybe they were. I'm just trying to confirm. So if somebody has an older version, they can right-click and let me know. I don't think we had the Send Workspace option in here, and we didn't have the Move Workspace option either. So those are some of the things that I think were added new. But you can see that you have so yeah, Rich is saying not on the 62 version. So if we're using the 62, update 62, some of the items here may be missing. And that's a good thing to look forward to. I'm not sure if anybody here uses the right-click menu on the Workspace tab as I do. I like to right-click on it. It gives me a quick shortcut to some of these options. So in here, you have the ability to save the workspace. And as I said, of course, that's going to save this workspace file into your computer. As a person that's using multiple terminals, okay, multiple computers, you may have a computer at home and you may have a computer in your office. You may want to save those workspaces to a portable memory drive so that you can take them wherever you are. You don't necessarily have to create a backup of TradeStation, because that's I see a backup of TradeStation as a little bit more resource intensive. That's a little bit more drastic. I know a lot of you use it as a way of transferring your work from one computer to the other and just archive it, package it up, move it to the other computer, and then restore it, and then you're on square one. Which is, if you see yourself doing a lot of changes to the TradeStation platform, then yeah, I guess that would be the best way to do it. But over here, you can also save a workspace and just copy the workspace file and take it with you. Now, you don't have to necessarily save it to the hard drive. you can save it to a memory stick, or even a cloud service like iCloud or Google Drive, and then access your workspaces from there. I'm not sure if any of you have had any experience in saving workspaces to a cloud service, but I think it makes sense, for you to have your work in the cloud so that you can always open it and reference it from one terminal. But if you don't have a cloud service and you just have a memory stick like the old days, it's impressive that nowadays these computers don't even have USB ports. They have this new what is it called? A C type USB. My Dell doesn't have any USB ports, which sometimes I'm amazed at, because there's so many USB devices that need to be plugged into the computer. No, they just decided that they were not gonna, use up space on the laptop to have a USB port. Impressive. So sometimes, carrying a memory stick may not be the most convenient option if you have one of those newer computers that don't have a USB port. But okay, whichever form you use, this workspace file is a file that is that you can find it in the TradeStation directory, that you can save it as an individual file, and then you can open it somewhere else. So when I have this option, and all this last couple minutes that I started talking about workspaces is because I saw this send workspace option that TradeStation links to Outlook. It's not going to work with web email. So if you have like a Gmail account or a Yahoo account, it will not work with that. But if you have Outlook on your computer, and Outlook is the email software that you use, when you click on send workspace, it's going to ask you, before we can send this workspace, we must save any modifications. You want to save it now? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to save it as my send workspace. All right, I'm going to save it and take a look. It opened up Outlook for me. It opened up an email. It has my email address up there. And in the subject is TradeStation Workspace, my send workspace, and it automatically attaches the workspace to my email. So I can, pretty quickly, I'm going to send it to myself and then just say send. So that sends the workspace over to me, and I can use it, anywhere I want. So that's another option you have. You can email yourself workspaces, and keeping those workspaces in your inbox is another solution to having the most updated version of your workspace. Okay. So it's an interesting way of sending a workspace to someone if that's something you want to do. Again, send workspace. I believe it only works with Outlook. That was the last information that I got maybe some 10 years ago. I don't think it's going to work with any of the other web email platforms like Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail. Those you have to, enter in a different way. This links very nicely to Outlook. All right. So I think the relationship between Windows and Workspace, it's kind of clear. Okay, we understand that the Workspace tab at the bottom is just a container, and it'll save whatever application windows you open up inside of that workspace. If you weren't aware of this, when you have workspace, when you have application windows open, you have access to this window menu, which lets you organize your windows in any of the ways that are listed here. Arrange all will provide you a view of all the different applications that are open. Let me show you a trick on arranging workspaces. I'm going to open up my apps and go to chart analysis, apps and chart analysis, apps and chart analysis. So these are 5 workspaces, and I'm going to go to window and arrange all, because that'll arrange workspaces in this way. I'm going to letter or load up symbols so that I can sort them in alphabetical order. So I'm going to do A on this one, B on this second one, C on this third one, D on the fourth one, and E on this fifth one. Interesting that we have all those symbols as real symbols, A, B, C, D, and E. But notice how I've inserted those symbols so that I can look at the way that it's arranging my letters. And you can see that it goes, well, actually, I have to go to Window and Arrange All. And you can see that it inverted the sorts. Let me go to Window, Arrange All. Okay, so that's being static. So we have E, D, C, B, A. That's the way that TradeStation is arranging windows. What if I wanted to have the windows arranged from A to D? In fact, let me just open up another one so it's kind of even. Window, arrange all. So I'm going to take this, where is it? This one right here, and I'm going to make it F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so take a look at my windows here. I have A at the bottom right, B at the top right. So I would want the A to be right here on the top left corner. So let me see if I get this straight. The way that the arrange all functionality works is that it'll arrange windows in the order that you click on and in the order that they're opened. So the window that you click last is the window that is going to be sorted first. So the sorting, and just to clarify, the sorting functionality up here is not looking at the symbol. You cannot sort in alphabetical order, so you have to control it by the way that you're clicking on the applications. So as I said at the very a moment ago, if I wanted A to be right here, the very first application window to be inside of my workspace, I have to save it for last. So this is the way that I'm going to arrange this. I'm going to click on the very last window or the very last chart. I'm going to click on the very last chart first, or the chart that I want in the last position. That is the window that I'm going to click on first. So I'm going to click on F, just a single click, and I'm going to go to E, then D, then C, then B, and last, I'm going to click on A. Now, if I click on Window and I click on Arrange All, then they're A, B, C, D, E, F. So they're sorted in the order that I want. So take a look at also the directions. It starts from the top. It doesn't go straight horizontally. It actually goes to the bottom. So A, B, C, D, E, F. If I wanted to have A, B, and C across the top of my screen, it's going to be a little bit tricky because I just have to be aware of the way that TradeStation sorts these. So if I want to have A, B, C, D, E, F, this is what I need to do. I know that the top one is going to be the top left. It's going to be the very one that I click on last. So I'm going to click on, first of all, I want to click, this is fine. I want F down here. So I'm going to click on F, but I'm not going to click on E. Let's see. Let me see how I do this. I want, yeah, I want E. But in here, I want, I'm not sure. Let's see. Let me just think about this because I want my top to be, sometimes it's just easier to drag the window where you want it. I know that sometimes it's just so much easier to do that. So I can take, once the windows are arranged, I'll just grab them by the title bar and just move them to the location that I want. So I was trying to figure out here a way of skipping some windows around. So let me try this. Window, arrange all. I'm going to do F, which is the last one. E, C, A, B, C. Goes top, bottom. think I lost. I think I I thought that I knew how to click on these, but and maybe you guys have know it exactly how to do it. And I knew that I went into this I thinking, well, I know how to do that. So let me, but now I'm just throwing out a blank, and I'm not sure how to approach this. So let me go to Window, Arrange All. So let's do it. Let's do it in alphabetical order. So I'm gonna do F, E, D, C, B, A. All right. So I'll go to Window, Arrange All, and I'll have A, B, C, D, E, F. The whole problem here started because I wanted A, B, C at the very top, not A, B, C, how it is sorted right here. So if I, so this is going to be A, B, C, D. So I want D over here, D, E, F. So this is D. D is the second one. B is the third. Okay. If I put them in the right. I just have to write it down, right? I think it makes more sense to write it down. So first one is A, then D, then B, then E, then C, and then the last one is going to be F. So if I want this to be backwards, I just go like this. All right, so we go F, C, E, B, D, and A. No, that's not work because, oh, yeah, it actually did. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so I guess writing it down was the trick here. Whew, that's confusing. Who wants to do that, right? Nobody would ever do that. So if you get into a problem that you cannot organize the windows in the way that you want, you can either go through this arduous process of knowing which one, or write it in the order that they need to be clicked, and then just work on that order backward, or just move them around. Title, move them around. I think by the time you figure out which one to click first, it's so much easier just to move them around and put them in location you want. Okay, so this is my workspace. Right click, save workspace. Now my workspace has these 4 application windows inside of it, and it's a container. Now the desktops was a terminology that TradeStation introduced many years after TradeStation was already out. Now, back in the days, most people just had one screen, one monitor, especially those big monitors and bulky monitors that would take up so much space on your computer desk. But that's the way that it was back then. And the idea of having multiple screens was not something that that it's not something that people were used to, or it was common. Nowadays, almost everyone has multiple screens. You can multitask and have things on one screen, things on another. So when computers were coming, and when multiple screens were getting popular, then TradeStation decided to offer this desktop functionality. Back in the days, if you wanted to have your TradeStation platform on multiple monitor screens, you had to grab, well, first of all, you had to, deattach TradeStation from a maximize mode. Like, for example, I just dragged it, and now it's a floating TradeStation. And then I had to drag it from one of the corners and just push it out onto my other screen. You can see that it's already stretched over to my second screen, and that's why it looks a little bit odd. That was the only way to get TradeStation to pretty much expand across multiple screens. Some people like that still, even if we even after allowing you to create multiple desktops, some people prefer to stretch their TradeStation platform across multiple screens just because that way they can just keep one workspace, one desktop. For them, it's less complicated. Now, desktops was specifically designed for you to work with multiple screens because now I can go to File, Desktops, open up a new desktop, and this opens a totally new TradeStation platform on this other screen here on the left-hand side, which I can bring over here. And you can see that these are just two TradeStation platforms running on my computer. One of them I would take over to my other screen and leave the other one here on this screen so that you can organize your work a little better. Some people wanted to separate, their stock trades from their futures trades. Now you can do it on separate screens, separate desktops. If you wanted to separate your, stocks trades from your options trade, you can also do that by creating multiple desktops. And in a multi-monitor setup, the good thing is that TradeStation recognizes that you have this interesting setup. And from the very beginning, it should ask you how many screens do you want to use for your TradeStation. And if it's all of them, then TradeStation, when you open it up, will load up a desktop on each one of your monitors, which is pretty cool, I've spoken to TradeStation users that have, 8 different monitors for TradeStation. I even spoke to one person that had 16 different TradeStation desktops opened up in 16 different monitors. Now that's intense. I'm not sure any person under normal circumstances can have that overreach, unless you have other people working with you and looking at other screens. It's impossible to watch so many screens at one time. But over here, you notice that I clicked on the X on this desktop, and now it's asking me, okay, what is it that you want to do? Because clicking on that X on the top right corner of TradeStation sometimes means that you want to close out of everything. So it's asking you, do you want to close this desktop or close all desktops? Okay, I just want to close this desktop because I want to keep my other one open. Let's bring it up, and I'm going to maximize it. Another thing that I wanted to show you, which sometimes throws TradeStation users off guard, is the minimize. If I have this Citigroup chart right here on the top right corner, if I minimize it, you can see that there's an empty space for it over here because that's where it was. I minimized it, but where did it go? The minimize windows in TradeStation, they actually go here to the bottom left as a little window icon or window indication, minimized window indication. It's not visible because I already have a chart open right there. If I resize it and raise it up, you can see that there's a, that's odd. Not sure if it looks like that because of my screen, but you can see that black box right there at the bottom. That's my minimized window. I think on the new update of TradeStation, they enhanced how the minimized windows would look. I think the enhancement did not work on my side because that little box should have some information about what symbol it is. What would happen if I have multiple minimized windows down here? I would not know which one's which. And hovering over it doesn't give me the details either. I'm not sure if you guys are doing this on your own TradeStation platform, but this is something that needs to be addressed. But yeah, minimized windows, if you had a window here that is covering that area, would go there and you wouldn't be able to see them. So I want you to be aware that whenever you minimize a window, it's going to be at the bottom left behind another window if that's what you have there, a window. I wish, TradeStation will just, resize windows up a little bit so you can see, or at least understand that the minimized windows are right there at the bottom left. If I double click on those, they come back to the screen. I think I'm missing one. Did I exit out? Probably did. Another thing that you can do is go to window and you can see all the chart windows that are there. Yeah, I lost the window. So let me go ahead and recreate it. Create. I'm going to copy it, copy window, right click and paste. I think that when you create it that way, it creates a window with the same dimensions. So that's something that you can do. Anytime you want a window with the same dimensions, you can just right click on one that you want to duplicate, copy the window and paste the window into the workspace. Works really nice. But I was saying that if you minimize these, yeah, they're right there at the bottom. So if they're minimized, another thing that you can bring them up, that's what I was trying to tell everyone here. If you minimize windows, if you want to bring them up without resizing this one right here, it seems like I'm lifting somebody's, lifting this chart to find the minimized windows. If you don't want to do that, just go to the window menu and select the window you want to see. So if I want to see Barnes Group, which is letter B, then that pulls up right here by clicking it from the window menu. And I think that there is a in TradeStation. Trying to see if I could find a shortcut, but all right, let's see some comments here from Phil. I used the light theme. I can read mine. I missed the arrange icon, which arranged the minimized. I see. So Phil was a fan of the arrange functionality right here, and arrange. You're saying in back in the days it would actually arrange the minimized windows as well. Yeah, this time it only arranges anything that is visible. So minimized windows will not. So window 5 and window, I'm missing, I think, I'm missing A, B, C, D, I'm missing E. So window, let's pull up E. Perfect. All right. So desktops, one of the things that I also wanted to show you is here the file preferences and going to desktop preferences. Because there's two tabs here that control the way that workspaces and desktops are going to behave. Workspaces first. Workspaces, of course, you can have something happen on startup. I've set mine to do not open any workspaces. We go back to how I like to pull up my TradeStation, especially for classes. I like it to be blank so that we can start, building windows from scratch. It's very nice for me to pull up a beautiful workspace, but I want to show you how to create it from scratch. Sometimes it's easier for me to hand over a workspace to you guys, and yeah, pretty cool, right? But what if you lose it? What if you wanted to do something similar but not quite the same? So having this ability to learn how to create these workspaces by yourself, I think, is an added benefit. But the default selection here is to open all workspaces from previous session. That's the default. So whatever you were looking at the time that you shut down your TradeStation platform, that's exactly what's going to be pulled up for you to see. Okay, be very attentive to the selection that you choose here, because that's going to modify the behavior of your TradeStation. Okay, these fields right here, workspace to display and menu, workspaces to display and menu, and total workspaces to remember, is what you see right here when you go to the file menu, file, and you click on workspaces. There is, this menu right here. It says recent workspaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So there's 10 workspaces here. If you go to more workspaces, it should remember 16. So these are the workspaces to remember when you go to this dialog. And these are the workspaces to display when you go to recent workspaces. So when I go to preferences and I go to desktop, that's what these two boxes mean. Workspaces to display menu, 10. And workspaces to remember, 16. One is in the additional dialog that pulls up when you want to see more workspaces that you can remember up to 16. And this is 10. So opened workspace, I don't even think we have this. So open workspace, go here. File, workspaces. I don't think we use that menu anymore. Because if I open up more workspaces, let me go here and see if it pulls up. I'm going to Let me do chart test and matrix test. That's my matrix. There's another chart. So I have 3 workspaces open. It would not be in the window menu, but if I go to the file menu and I go to workspaces, so recent workspaces, of course, has them, but there's no opened workspace that I can go to and try to switch back and forth. Mhm. So Control Tab cycles through the windows. Take a look at the outline that highlights the active window. I'm not sure if you're able to tell that it's moving from one place to the other, but Control Alt moves that outline from one window to the next, just in case you want to use a hotkey to cycle through the windows. Sometimes it is nice if you maximize a window, one of these windows that is in here. And this is something that I wanted to talk to you about. If you maximize any of these windows, let's maximize Citigroup. It takes up the whole screen, right? You can see Citigroup right here. But you know that I have 6 different window charts on this workspace. If I do Control Tab, notice that it will cycle through all the charts that are opened inside of this workspace. So if that's what you want to use, I mean, it's up to you as well. Because a lot of times, looking at a chart that's very small in size, it's kind of cumbersome. But maximizing a window and not having to get out of it to go back into another one, you can just do Control Tab to cycle through the different windows inside of a workspace. Okay, just a little bit of a shortcut there. And if you want to do the workspaces, I think it's Control. What is it? Control Alt Tab. No, what's the command to cycle through the different workspace tab? Does anybody know? Control Tab, go through the windows. Alt Tab. No, Alt Tab is just for my computer. Maybe. Oh, okay, I thought I had pressed this, but Control Page Up allows you to cycle through the different workspaces tabs also. So if you have multiple tabs at the bottom, you can just press Control Page Up to cycle through the different workspace tabs as well. All right. What else can I show you here? Okay, let's go to File, Preferences, and go to Desktop, because when you go to desktops, you also have some behavior here on startup. I know that many of you, we've had a very open conversation about this functionality and how it interacts with on startup selections that you choose on desktops and on startup selections that you do right here on Workspace, because they may contradict each other and they may override each other. So let me give you an example. If you have Workspaces set to do not open any workspaces, and then you come over here to desktops and you say, I want to open desktop number 1, guess what's going to do? What it's going to do is that it's going to open up desktop number 1. But since you told right here, you told TradeStation to not open any workspace, what it'll do, it'll open up desktop number 1 with no workspaces open. Kind of odd, right? But it's the behavior. It is what it is right now. And just be aware of what it does so that you don't sit there and try to figure out, well, I know that I had workspace tabs in that workspace, but they're not opening up. It may be because of this, because you're telling TradeStation to not open any workspaces. I know some of you hate this functionality, but that's the way that TradeStation was designed. So make sure that you have at least open all workspaces from previous session if you're selecting some desktops to be opened. All right, guys, that's my content for today. Hopefully you picked up on a few things that you hadn't before. I dive deeper into how you can use Windows workspaces and desktops. I don't think I'm missing anything. Oh, by the way, A desktop file, one thing to consider as well, is that it doesn't save your workspace. The desktop file, when you go to File, Desktops, and you choose to save a desktop, it's just creating some sort of a link. It knows, or the desktop knows, which workspaces were opened up inside of it. So when the desktop is open, it's going to try to reach those workspaces and bring them in. But if you take that desktop and you send it to somebody else, that desktop is not going to have anything because it doesn't really contain the workspace. Does that make sense? It just creates that link. So if you want to share a desktop with someone, just remember that what you need to share is the actual workspaces, because that's where the work is stored. That's where the applications are opened. That's where the windows are. That's where you do all the arranging. So that's the most important part of saving your work. The desktop is just like a little shell that knows what workspaces were connected to a particular view. Okay. So that's it. Thank you guys for being part of the TradeStation family. Thank you for being here. And tomorrow we're going to do Ask the Experts at 11:30. Just join me at 11:30 for any questions you have on the TradeStation platform. We can talk about anything that's custom to, and you can just join us. If you don't have any questions, you can always join us just to hear the conversation. And then at 12:30, we have a presentation on the studies that are part of the TradeStation platform on put and call ratio. So interesting content, and I'm going to just explain all the technicalities around those studies. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye, everyone. Great having you.